Hello, everyone. I just want to check, like back there, if you can hear everything okay that we're going to be talking about. Yeah? Good. Awesome. Thank you. So, DeFi and UX. I think what we'll talk about mostly is how far along are we with DeFi when it comes to making it accessible for many instead of the few. So that'll be our topic. I'm going to be asking these wonderful gentlemen a few questions and see where they agree, see where they might have some different views to go into. I'm Hester. I work for Status. We're building, in short, Web3 Discord. Can go into lengths about that, but for another time. Here, maybe following up on Mariano's introduction, we have Evgeny of Zerion. I believe you started as a software engineer for a few years before founding Zerion in 2016, which is ancient by now. So congrats on that, sticking around. We have Seb. I believe you have a background in product design, which explains a lot about how Zapper works as well. So kudos from the design community, well done. Sergej, long history in IT and software development and security audits on YouTube. I checked out the YouTube channel. Still has a lot of followers, subscribers, and founded 1inch in 2020, I believe it was, maybe a little bit earlier.
2019, we built 1inch on a hackathon in TH New York.
2019, okay. And Soren, with years and years of experience, starting at IBM, but I don't know what you have not done in between IoT and e-governance, and now director, co-founder of Oazo Labs, building Oasis as a application. So I think a great panel to understand where DeFi is at. And I would like to ask from each of you, and please jump in wherever you can, where do you see DeFi at now? Are we reaching the many? And maybe you can go into a little bit of who's your user base now? Who do you actually see using your product?
So the answer to this question has changed a lot with time. I can give a bit of like the evolution of the user base we've seen in Zapper and how we've kind of adapted the product. So initially, and that's happens a lot in new tech paradigms or new tech shifts. You can think of the industry as being mostly thinkers, developers, really people that are just purely curious, trying stuff out. I didn't really fall in that category in the early time of DeFi. I actually came a bit later when we got like the first major protocols, and at that time, there weren't any products that kind of fit me as a user, right? I wanted something that was easier to use, and I didn't want to have to like use a bunch of different products, synthetics, Aave, Uniswap. So to be able to put that in one kind of platform was really important. But with time, we're seeing that there's been a dramatic shift in our user base where they're not, these degen DeFi investors that try to seek every protocol. They actually seek convenience, and they're not going into like 50 protocols like, say, a year ago. They're going maybe in 4 or 5, and they're trying to use like not as many, platforms. And so that's really changed the way we've kind of designed Zappers to be like really this one-stop shop, to be able to do most of what you can do in DeFi, and focus on really people that are kind of entering the space that really want convenience.
I'm curious, how is that for, I'll give you my microphone, how is that for Zerion, as in maybe attracting a slightly different generation, starting out a little bit earlier in the crypto space?
Yeah, sure. Happy to give our perspective on that. So I think it was in a way similar to how the evolution of your audience has been. So obviously, like users of Zerion were the ones not necessarily all familiar when they started with DeFi, and they just kind of progressed through. And I think now we're seeing even more and more people who are like, just coming to the DeFi space through the NFT market, for example, and they use Ethereum as like again the starting point to see their collection first, and they kind of get into the DeFi space through that. Yeah. So in terms of I want to say as well. So with the UX evolution, I think it's actually getting easier and easier to, and also like the chains, new chains coming up on the market. We see the barrier of entry dropping significantly. So now before Ethereum was pricing out a ton of people from just like using all the DeFi protocols, and now we see people just jumping in and starting with Polygon, for example, versus Ethereum. And I think this is how DeFi continued to grow and evolve as a user base.
Thank you. Soren, I'd also like to hear from you because we were talking about the application layer. You're also chairperson for the DAI Foundation.
Yeah.
DeFi being used by the many. How do you see DAI being used by the many currently?
Well, we can go and look at how much is in circulation, but it's clearly the glue of DeFi. It's clearly what we also worked on before is making it available as actually digital dollar for people in South America, Africa, and so on. Right now, we're challenged on that due to the high gas prices of layer one. So, we have some scalability challenges. So, let's try and take a little bit. You say, how do we get DeFi to the many? I will say a little bit about where we are today with the Oasis app and where we are going, because there is a huge potential and we clearly aren't there yet, and we have to take some steps. And what we're focusing on so far, we have been delivering a front end for the mega protocol users where you kind of generate DAI for collateral. And we had over 8,000 wallets connect to Oasis last month. We had over 600, not a lot, but 600 unique users creating over 1 billion of volume in transactions through Oasis. And by the way, 10% of that was our newest product, Multiply, where you kind of automatically can increase or decrease your exposure to some assets. So, it's like a very distinct user, and for the short future, we are also really looking towards users who has at least $100,000 worth of assets to kind of deploy and manage into DeFi to get more out of their worth and also get stable returns. So both they can kind of have exposure when the market goes up, but also have some safe haven when we have a bear market. And that's really our focus now, and we do believe that that also has a huge potential. So I think we need to go in steps.
So it sounds like you also looked at the distribution of people using DAI and how many assets they hold, or?
Yeah.
That's a big study, right?
Yeah, and again, I would really say DAI is a glue. It's very convenient to kind of deploy into all kinds of assets. So clearly we see that's the best medium for that.
Got it. I'm curious, jumping ahead a little bit, at what can influence building DeFi for the many. Correct me if I'm wrong. I understand 1inch is also deployed on a other chain.
Yes. We are on Ethereum, of course. Started on Ethereum. Next move was to expand to Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum, and soon ZK is in the mainnet. We also will release on layer 2 ZK as well.
Right. So I'm curious, very specific question, but I'm curious how you all feel about like deploying DeFi applications across different chains, aggregating applications from different chains. Like, to what extent should you adopt more centralized chains in order to reach more people? How do you see that? Maybe starting with you, Sergej.
So I see the side chains, layer 1, like Binance Smart Chain, Polygon. It's only a short-term thing because we have already great solutions. We have already layer 2 Of course, optimistic rollouts, from my point of view, it's not the best solution, but a good solution. And as soon we have ZK Sync, we will have really great throughput of 20,000 TPS, which would mean lower gas costs and yeah, more user we can onboard on that. Aggregating among multiple chains, it's difficult to achieve swap, for example, across multiple chains atomically, and this is a pain. There are some risks, and I don't see any value in that. Of course, the liquidity is distributed right now. Part is in Ethereum. It's like around 60%, I guess, of the liquidity right now in whole DeFi is in Ethereum. The other parts are on Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and we have bridge, and on our side we integrated every chain as like a separate environment. Just if you want to swap, move to another chain with your token, USDC for example, and swap there, and you will get at least what you expected on the swap.
Yeah, I think our approach is somewhat similar. So we actually try to support the way we approach protocols and all the protocol integrations is that we actually try to cover as many of them as possible. Because I think in DeFi it's really hard to predict which one of these are actually going kind of like to make it in the end. So you know, some chains might start more centralized and maybe decentralized in the future. So DeFi is really evolving. So trying to kind of like become the judge of like what users should or shouldn't be doing on blockchains, I think not the right approach. So that's why we try to be open to what we integrate and yeah, see what gets more usage, I guess, in the future. And yeah, that's how we approach feature prioritization there.
I just want to add that clearly DeFi has growing pains from the builder perspective. But if we turn it around and look from the user perspective, we believe there's millions of users out there who has the capital and the knowledge to actually use financial services they cannot get access to. And DeFi can solve that. But right now, they have to jump through multiple hoops, right? Different apps, now even different chains. and it is just so confusing for them. New users, they don't really know where to start and what to trust. And that really is kind of what we from Oasis focus on, trying to answer these two questions, because we really believe that will unlock a lot of new users.
Yeah, so I'm curious how you see that as someone with a product design hat, at least that you've worn in the past. I think what Soren is describing is the role of user experience in like reaching the many. How's Zapper doing that?
Yeah, well, specifically for like the multi-chain world, there's definitely a lot of UX, issues or things to work on. We actually, our design philosophy is never to be like to abstract, crypto away. Is actually to let it shine and educate people on how to use it. And so I don't, it might change in the future, but I don't think like all these things will be hidden away from the user. They'll actually be born with these tools, and for them, Ethereum will be a city, and Polygon will be like this other city that has different products built there, different economy, right? I don't see it being abstracted. If you look at the people, they're actually very curious. They want to explore, so they're not looking for abstraction. They're looking for tools that allow them to freely browse like this new web, right?
Got it. I'm gonna tune for a second to people here in the audience, asking I'm a UX researcher at heart. So a basic UX research question I often ask is, how easy or difficult do you find this application to use now? So maybe by raising hands on a scale of 1 to 5, where do you see DeFi applications now, where 1 is very difficult to use, 5 is very easy to use? 1, 2, okay, 3, that's pretty good. 4, yes, Any particular application in mind? In general, that's a good score. Just for sake of completing the round, 5. Very easy to use right now? Okay, okay. So there's some work to do, I guess. Okay, what we touched on multi-chain, supporting multiple chains to reach more people. I think Soren mentioned gas cost briefly. That's definitely a factor. Experience design. What other things do you see currently impacting more people using DeFi?
So in our view, I think the biggest blocker that we've seen was the wallet experience. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding of how Web3 should be different from Web2, and some people would try to adapt the patterns from the Web2 and try to apply them and use like the account experience and the wallet experience to kind of make it similar to how you would experience Revolut and it kind of or like Robinhood or others. But I think within DeFi and Web3, it's just a completely different experience. So by kind of like applying the old patterns to the new world, you're not creating, you're limiting the user essentially in what they actually can achieve. So I think this has been a big struggle for a while now in the space, and I think there's a lot of potential to, make it better there. Yep.
Well, there's loads of barriers. There's the technology, scalability, security part. There's the regulation, the elephant in the room. But there's also business models. We still need to get a way, for example, to ensure what I deploy into DeFi, not just ensure against smart contract risk and stuff like that. So there's a lot of restrictions in all of these areas, but there's still a lot we can do with the current restrictions right now. So from our point of view, where to start, what to trust, that again, take it from the user's point of view. What is their job to be done? Because users today, to accomplish something in DeFi, they have to use, I don't know, how many different apps. For example, we surveyed our users, the Mega Protocol vault holders, and they go at least 4 other places to kind of figure out what to do. First, they need to figure out what is the market sentiment, how should I make my strategies. Then they have a home spreadsheet to kind of look at how is my investment performing, what are the risks. But then they also need to follow up, what are the system changes, are the stability fees changing and stuff like that. And finally go and also, where are the new opportunities? And that's ridiculous. And obviously we can't fold all of that into one, but we're really looking towards trying to give users one number to follow their investments, and we're giving a first step with a profit and loss overview soon, but won't be perfect. But again, take it from the user's point of view. What is it they want to accomplish? I think that's really what we can tackle with all these other barriers that are out there.
Want to chime in, Seb?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think too, finance, right, isn't like the most sexy thing in like traditional finance, right? And so it's one part very intimidating for people coming in. They take a lot of assumptions that they know of finance from the traditional world, and we want to break those assumptions kind of because everyone should be able to participate in finance. We want everyone to be financially empowered. But I mean, we've never really invested in financial literacy ever, right? At school, right? When did we actually learn about finance? Never. And so it's really important to kind of break those, perspectives or like perceptions we have on the traditional finance, and try to welcome people as much as possible and not make it as intimidating as it is. And especially like it's intimidating for people in this space, like even us, right? It's very overwhelming, everything that's going on. So I can't even imagine someone that's just entering the space, right? So financial education, like building a future where people are actually more financially literate than rebuilding kind of fintech and traditional finance 2.0. We want people to be able to make, self-sovereign decisions with finance. But that's, I think, one of the big challenges, right, to overcome is not just from a technical perspective, it's also from how can we, build this Trojan horse for finance.
You guys have a wallet. I think Zapper is also working on a wallet in this Trojan horse. Thinking of, okay. I guess that answers my question. What is the role of wallets in making DeFi accessible? What's the entry point there?
From our point of view, a wallet is a tool to onboard new people. So it should also provide security for the users. So we have seen a couple of hacks that someone was hacked, and signed a transaction, and the tokens were transferred to a hacker, and such kind of things should be improved. Yeah, so that's why we just introduced one each wallet, and you can also sign with your Apple Watch the transaction. You see what's happening. It's described. You swap Ethereum to DAI, you get this amount. You pay this amount of fees. We need to improve the usability in the DeFi space.
We just think that wallet is a crucial component of like your DeFi metaverse journey. It's kind of like your home base. So without having this home base, it's really it's dangerous out there. There's so many like scams and fake projects and phishing, etc. So a wallet is like where you start, and this is how you kind of secure and compound your assets. So I think it's a pretty important bit, and I think this is not, it's been a while, and they still haven't been solved, I think. So that's why it's probably like almost everyone on the planet is working on it. Yeah.
I'll consider this a call to wallet providers to up their game.
The real reason everyone's building a wallet is because we're tired of all doing MetaMask customer support.
Yeah.
But you really also point to this thing. A lot of our users, they use hardware wallets, and again, how can they actually? They look at numbers on this small display, and we see from time to time they actually send it somewhere wrong. We really need a way to also make sure that no one can interfere between all of this stuff, and it's still clearly readable for the user. What is it actually they're sending this money to? And trust that this is the right thing. So yeah, wallets are crucial.
So what would say the usability doesn't get fixed in the Web3 world, the wallets don't improve, gas costs stay high. What do you see as the biggest risk in achieving DeFi for the many?
Okay. So I just think there'll be bumps on the road, but I also think it's clear that decentralization, this is not just in DeFi, but this is all over the plate, is something that brings more reliance, and it will come eventually. The question is, will we succeed or will someone else succeed? From our point of view, it really is, are we able to execute? And I would say for us, the biggest risk is we can't hire qualified people fast enough. That's really what is the risk for us right now.
And sorry to interrupt, what if CeFi succeeds?
Like CeFi has some benefits because they are regulated, most of them, and they have to somehow to work in this compliance framework. And it's coming for DeFi for sure. I see it like next year coming. So we have seen already. There are some investigations right now, and like blacklisting security tokens on decentralized exchanges. What makes sense from our point of view as well. And from our point of view, we should introduce a compliance protocol, something like that, so everyone can use it integrated as money Lego. And we are safe. Maybe there's a room for a DAO to kind of compliance DAO where maybe we can also offer KYC, and AML as well. So, and we use an internal Oracle and smart contracts to just ensure that we are compliant, and regulators will not just start fighting against us. Yeah, and if they start, yeah, we will see a lot of pain and blood outside.
Approaching the end of our panel, I have a quick rapid fire round for you. I'm going to start on that end. Favorite stablecoin? Favorite stablecoin?
Difficult. That one which is not yet there.
Sorry?
That one which is not yet released.
DAI. No, I mean, yeah, obviously DAI. LUSD. Same actually, DAI.
Okay. What's next for DeFi?
DAOs. I think the intersection of DeFi and NFTs.
DeFi and NFTs. Yeah. Okay.
Once again?
What's next for DeFi?
For next? Regulation?
Probably.
Yeah, that's coming, and from our point of view, it's really providing this trust so we can get the masses in, because yeah, right now getting into DeFi is like being accepted into a Masonic lodge, right? So yeah, trust.
Building trust. Alrighty. Sergej, starting with you. Favorite ETH client that's not Prism?
Once again?
Favorite ETH client, Ethereum client that is not Prism?
That's not what?
Not Prism. Favorite client?
Favorite client?
Yeah.
Okay. You mean not like
Yes.
like Node client? Okay. My favorite Node client. Actually, Parity did really great job. In one word? Yeah, okay, sorry. Geth, but previously Parity, but yeah, Geth.
Same.
Okay, that's Geth, right? You said Geth. Yeah.
Open Ethereum. That's what. Just because we use it. Actually, there's another one. Aragon. Wait, is this? I forgot. There's a new one that is just slowly getting adoption. I think we're looking into it.
It's in the arena of new stablecoin, the new whatever new comes out. Soren?
Was your question the favorite client?
Yeah.
Or what?
Favorite ETH2 client.
Node or what?
This is my last question, guys. I should have prepared that better. Favorite ETH2 client. ETH2.
To be honest, I don't really, I have no favorite ETH2 client yet.
Okay.
I have a question. Do we need really Ethereum 2.0? This is a huge question. Do we need really Ethereum 2.0?
Can you repeat that once more?
There's no need for Ethereum 2.0 from our point of view. So, I don't have my favorite ETH client for Ethereum 2.0 because like we are fine with Ethereum 1.0,
okay.
which should be just upgraded with proof of stake, not more, not less, and scalability would come through layer 2, because layer 2 is Ethereum.
That's you're starting a whole new debate here. Okay. Any comment on that? Last comments?
I think it's an interesting thought because we've kind of given up on expecting it to being released, so it might never happen actually.
Okay. So focus on ETH or on layer 2 solutions.
Yeah.
Okay. That was our panel. I want to thank you very much for your patience and diligence answering some of my questions. And enjoy LisCon.
Thank you so
Likewise,
much.
Hester. I think you did a great job.